Let's face it, the world of work is changing. Who does what at an organization isn't what it used to be. And that's okay. The outsourcing of jobs, responsibilities, and skill sets beyond the core capabilities of a company is an efficient way to get things done. Bringing in talent specific to a function is a great way to maximize people power. It's a way of making sure everything in a company gets done and done well. Our guest today knows what it's like to navigate a variety of organizations and their numbers from the back office to the boardroom. Hi, and welcome to Coffee with Claire. As you loyal fans know, we bring to you business leaders and entrepreneurs who like to give back and have fun. My guest today is Tina O'Banion. Tina is a founder and CEO of TFO Solutions, an experienced financial professional and trusted advisor to many C-level executives. Her passion is in helping entrepreneurs succeed. Please join me in welcoming Tina O'Banion. Woo-woo, we got Tina in the house. Yeah. So Tina, I remember meeting you probably 3 years ago at least at a Biz Energize presentation.
Correct.
And I was teaching everybody about yes-anding and improv and stuff like that. And we just really made this interesting, amazing connection.
We did.
And have stayed in contact and have become good friends through the years. So I am so excited about you starting your new company. This is such a perfect thing for you.
Thank you so much. I am so glad to be here, and I've been wanting to do this for a very, very long time.
Well, you know, you have done a lot of things, and you've had a huge trajectory in your ways that you've done business and stuff like that. But why your company and why now?
That's a great question. I have been dreaming about doing this for a long time. Let me take you back in the beginning of my career.
Sure.
So I left high school and I had no desire to go to college, but I went and got an associate's degree in computerized accounting.
Computerized accounting.
Computerized accounting. Believe it or not, that was a thing back then. And I was a computer expert, believe it or not. I was like a hot to trot, right? I was like going to help companies grow and put things on the computer, and it was a thing. And I just walked into, got a job, and I was working with, doing bookkeeping and doing learning everything there was to do about, accounts payable, payroll, and all these things. And then I started realizing people with degrees actually made more money.
Oh.
And it was about more money for me.
There you go.
Exactly. It was just crazy. So I decided to go and get my degree, but I did it while working. So I took classes in the evenings and all that. So I was very fortunate. I'm from Houston, and I got to work with an international oil and gas field services company.
Okay.
And this is where I kind of like started to shine.
Yeah.
In my mid-20s, I was actually a controller. I
Wow,
had no degree, and I was a superstar because
Good for
accounting
you.
just made sense to me. Debits and credits have to equal.
Everything's in balance.
Everything's in balance, and everything was just working. So I had a really great career in Houston, and I always had a side hustle. I always saw that people that were entrepreneurs, they needed my help to get them in the startup mode. So my side hustle was working for myself at nights and weekends, and I created a company called Absolute Accounting Solutions.
Absolute Accounting Solutions.
Yeah, so I was just focused on accounting. I was focusing on entrepreneurs, getting them started in this world of computerized accounting. And back in 2000, I found myself with a company I was working for, and they were closing their doors. My husband got offered a job, and I was pregnant.
Oh,
and
wow.
we moved from Houston to Dallas, and I said, I'll move, but I'm going to go get my degree. And so I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was able to get my accounting degree. I went to UTD, where I graduated with honors. And then I was pregnant with my second daughter at the time.
Gosh.
And then I went off to SMU, and I went through the executive MBA program. And all while doing all of that and having babies and being a stay-at-home mom and going to school, I still had my side hustle.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so I continue to help entrepreneurs. So all along, I've been helping entrepreneurs with their accounting and finances. You know, it's just been part of me. And after graduating from SMU, I had huge student loan debt, which you can imagine, and I had to go get a real job. So my real job was working for companies in international capacity or what have you, helping them with major transformation, major change. And so I just kind of felt like I've been a consultant all my career.
Well, you really have.
I really have. I've helped with major changes like bankruptcy or mergers and acquisitions, software selection, implementing technology. I implemented this technology, and I worked myself out of a job.
Oh, no.
But which is great, right?
Okay.
You know, when you're doing something very manual and it takes you 5 days to close the books because you've got all these things you're consolidating to a 4 hour.
Oh, wow.
And I was sitting there going, well, what next? What next? So, so I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot. And I've also maintained really excellent relationships along the way. Not a lot of accountants are like me. I'm extroverted. I developed relationships. When you and I met, we connected on such a level that we remained friends. I know you're a big Chiefs fan, and so am I. My grandfather was, a big Chiefs fan from Kansas City, and so, that's just something we share.
Yeah.
And so, honestly, I've been a CFO, I've been a controller, I've always had this side hustle. When I was in SMU, I started really getting a full, broader view of companies, and you learn about IT, you learn about marketing, you learn about operations, you learn all the gamut from A to Z in business. And so I started helping entrepreneurs on a more strategic standpoint at that time, and doing financial modeling. Some people in our entrepreneurship class didn't know how to put their finances together. Yeah. And they knew that this is what they wanted to do. And I'll give you an example. Someone was going to do like a drop-in hourly rate for daycare. Okay. And she had this idea and wanted to do this, and she didn't know how to put the numbers together. And a lot of times what you'll see is this hockey stick. Like, I'm going to grow exponentially. I'm going to make all this money in the first year of business, right? And that's just not going to happen, right? So I was able to help her and others, and I continue to do that, and all while working full-time jobs and
of course,
going here, going there, going there. So ultimately, the why now is really interesting. I've always dreamt about it. I have a vision board, and I always wanted to do this, but I was so afraid. Those voices in the back of my head said, what if you fail? What if you don't bring in the money? It takes two of us, me and my husband both, to run our household. We've got teenagers, we've got cars, we've got all these things, and what if this doesn't work? Well, then there were signs all around. Really? You know how you see these signs, and all of a sudden
if you're paying attention to them.
You have to pay attention to them. And so I was working, and my friends were working in very hostile environments, and so was I. And this article came up. It says people don't leave jobs, they leave toxic work cultures.
That is so true.
I know, right? And so I was sitting here going, oh my gosh. And I saw this on LinkedIn. This is the article, by the way. I saw this on LinkedIn. People were sending it to me in instant messaging on LinkedIn.
Oh my gosh.
And Facebook. They knew I was struggling, and they knew that I was unhappy. I was working long hours. I had tight deadlines. I just was, I gained some weight, and it's so hard.
That's a protection mechanism.
Yeah. And I was not healthy at all. And so I left that environment. And one of the things that I'd like to state is that I've seen some really good companies, and I've seen some really good bosses along the way, but I've also seen some really bad ones. And what this article talks about is the disrespect, the inequality, the favoritism, those types of things, and the lack of appreciation of your support. So all of these things were coming together, and I'm like, you know what, it's time. So I just woke up one day and I said, I got this, because of the support of my friends, the relationships I've built, people like you, and networking, and my family. I just said, I'm going to do this, and I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad to be here.
Yay!
Yes, I know. So that's why I did it.
So you have had a long road, and through that journey, you've accumulated a wealth of knowledge. I'm sure that there's a couple of industries that you're most interested in looking at. What might those be?
It's interesting. I remember back in the crash of 2008, my company had relocated from Dallas to Connecticut, and they offered me a job to move to Connecticut, right?
Oh, really?
And it was very expensive and very cold,
yeah.
and I'm a Texas girl, right? I am not going.
It's too cold.
It's too cold. Snow, what's that?
Yeah, you don't have to shovel heat.
Exactly. Just take off your clothes. Right? Take off those layers.
Oh, yes.
So, I was sitting there, and I wanted to, a friend of mine had started working for a healthcare company, and she had dabbled in that. And so I wanted to get in there, and I thought, the medical field is, they're always going to need accountants. And so I thought, well, I just need to get into this industry. So I'm looking on, I lost my job. I had a great severance, but I started looking for work, and it was very hard to find jobs at the time. I didn't have my CPA. I didn't have this particular industry experience. And so I couldn't get my foot in the door. Right. And so I was like, well, why not? Debits are debits and credits are credits,
Yeah, they're all the same in any industry, right?
Right. Financial statements are financial statements, no matter what industry you're in. It's just about the sales. Where do the sales come from? And how do you collect on those sales? How do you get money in the door? So anyways, I was very furious that I couldn't get in. Anyways, subsequent to that, 10 years later, I've worked for 3 medical companies.
Okay.
And it's no different.
You made that happen.
I made that happen. So industry specific, people ask that question. No, I can work in any industry.
Well, that makes sense, especially the way you described it. It's like, it really is a matter of understanding the story and the relationships of those numbers. It's like words tell stories to me, and numbers tell stories to you. Although you're kind of like left and right brain both. You have both things going in the same direction. But a lot of entrepreneurs are very much about the idea side of things.
Right.
And they get really excited about that activity around it, because that's where they're comfortable. And they do need someone like you to come and say, okay, now here's some realistic expectations that you can have, as well as guide them from that back office work into that strategic forward thinking mindset.
Right.
And so, you've got the tagline of back room to boardroom. So does that mean that you kind of take people through and guide them through that whole scenario?
Absolutely. So that's what my differentiator is, right? So I have all this wealth of expertise in accounting and finance and all these big major transactional things that companies have gone through. So what I've decided to do is build a kind of your whole entire back office. We can handle all of your accounting needs. That is your basic bookkeeping, your getting your month-end close, getting your reconciliations done, making sure things are being classified correctly. Make sure you're billing your customers. You'd be surprised that people don't bill their customers on time. And they're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to do that. Well, now you don't have money.
And well, it's good that somebody's there to remind them of that.
Yeah, exactly. You need that for cash flow.
Yeah.
So, helping them with that, but also that's the back office. And to the boardroom is more of the solutions. It's more of that fractional CFO, fractional controller role. So that they have the people coming in to say, okay, now what's your future look like? What are some of the opportunities that are on your horizon?
Right.
What's your growth perspective. Where do you see yourself in 1 year, 3 years, or 5 years?
Right.
Well, a financial model that includes not only just your P&L, your profit and loss, it also includes your cash flow. So people tend to forget about that. That is so important.
Until they need money.
Until they need money. It's like, oh, well, I wasn't thinking about that. So, or they want to sell their business. There's all
Yes.
kinds of people that
Yeah.
want to retire and they don't have anybody in the pipeline to take over for them. And so they've got to be able to understand what they think is their valuation is not always what the truth is.
Yeah, because they're so emotionally attached to it. It's their baby.
That is so true.
Yeah.
I've helped a client that way, that she thought she just needed to sell and went through the whole entire due diligence, and really at the end of the day, having all your eggs in one basket was her downfall.
Yeah.
And so we strategize, like make sure that you build up your clientele. So that back office is, the management support, being the strategic partner, saying, I have a vision. Like if you had your vision and you want to grow and you want to do these things, who are you going to strategize with?
Right. Yeah, because you're just one person.
Right. Or you have staff, but you just don't have that strategic financial lens
Right.
to help you get there, right? By reducing cost, or looking at your top line, your bottom line, and everything in the middle. That tells a story. And a lot of people forget
Yes.
that. You can budget all day long, but if you're not comparing your budgets and what your forecast is to your actuals, then you don't know what's going on. So that's what I offer. And on my business card, one of the things I do have that as a tagline: TFO solutions from the back office to the boardroom. But on here, I have core competencies. And
Oh,
it's
cool.
about
That's
this.
a great idea.
Yeah, so it's about the services that we offer, but having affordable pricing and cash flow friendly pricing, that's at the bottom. And what that means is that I'm going to give entrepreneurs a means of affordable CFO,
Yeah.
affordable accounting, and at a price that is steady. So even at the year end, when things get really hectic for accountants, trying to get all the financials together for whatever, or preparing for an audit, this is all steady. So I estimate the amount of hours it would take our firm to help your company.
That is amazing, because I know a lot of entrepreneurs get really scared about hiring what we hear is that fractional CFO, because they're afraid it's going to be too expensive for them.
Yes.
And so it sounds like that you've taken that into consideration and, help them say, okay, this is how much it's going to cost over the duration of a certain amount of time that's agreed upon.
Right.
And then that way they can budget and still have your brilliance and have a really healthy look at their business,
Right,
not just
exactly.
one-sided.
Exactly. So I'll give you an example. I'm working with this client right now. He acquired this business over the summer, right? And with that business, it was a 20-plus-year-old business.
Oh, wow.
And so he bought the business, and he's looking at growing that business. But what came with that business was this accountant that had been with this company for a long time.
Oh, a lot of people will bring their,
So he's been working with this accountant, and the accountant is not a strategic partner, and he wants to grow, and he wants to, he has these visions for growing this business, and not just keep status quo. And so he's reached out to me, and we're negotiating what services I would provide to him. And we've had multiple conversations, and already he has loved my ideas. And we're meeting, and this is that strategic partnership I'm talking about, being able to say, okay, just because they've been status quo for this many months, I want to grow, and I'm looking into buying another one. And so he wants to expand. It's all about cash flow. It's all about and the return on investment. If I do this, looking at all the what ifs, right?
Right, yeah.
What if I don't do that? What if I just go grab his customers and I take it into him? And why don't I, what am I buying? So it's so fun. It's just so exciting to help them.
And when people see your enthusiasm around what you do and the passion that you have for helping others, it's just like a magnet. I mean, people are just drawn to you, because you're right. A lot of accountants are very introverted, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. And entrepreneurs have this spirit about them that really can connect with that energy that you bring.
Oh, well, thank you.
So I think that you found a perfect niche for yourself.
Yes.
So, well, you've talked a lot about financial strategies. I know entrepreneurs really don't think about those kinds of things. So what are maybe the top 3 things that you've noticed that you need to recommend to entrepreneurs that might be looking for somebody like you? What are some things that you can help them with? Maybe the top 3 things.
Well, I would say, if you're looking to change or looking to grow,
Okay.
like
Change
if
for
they're
growth.
like stagnant, they don't know how to get out of what they're doing.
Okay.
They want to take it to the next level, right? And I think asking for help is okay.
Oh, that's hard.
You may have a
Sometimes.
good accountant. It may be Uncle Joe over
Right.
here that's doing, right? Uncle Joe may be doing a good job, but Uncle Joe's got to go, And
Sorry, Uncle Joe, we'll see you Thanksgiving.
yeah, exactly. So there's these challenges. People have their relatives doing their
Yeah.
accounting, and that's not a partner.
Right.
Just having that that ability to say, I need help.
Well, just having that third neutral party that can step in and say things that, because you're not emotionally attached to the situation, you can be really honest.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Right.
that is what it gets missed, is because people are afraid of hurting somebody's feelings. It's like, you know what, this is business. This is not personal. But it can become very personal if you don't have the money to run your business.
Right.
really fast.
Exactly. So I would say, look at that and allow yourself to ask for help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Tina, this has struck me as you are a fractional CFO with superpowers.
Yes.
I just see you coming in with your
Wonder
cape
Woman.
behind you. Yeah, and you've got all the answers in your bag of tricks. I know that our audience would love to know how to find you and be able to get more information about your business.
Well, great. So I have a website.
Okay.
It's tfosolutionsllc.com. It is a wonderful website that I help create because I do have that left and right brain going.
Right.
And so it's TFO Solutions LLC. You can reach me by email at info@tfosolutionsllc.com or
Okay.
Tina. I don't know why I said info, but Tina@tfosolutionscom.
But either one of them will work.
Either one of
Okay.
them will work. And my phone number is on our website, so check it out.
Well, Tina, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thanks to our listeners and viewers. Please make sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We'll see you next time on Coffee with Claire. Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Coffee with Claire. To learn more about today's guests, visit their website or find them on Facebook. To learn more about me, Claire Billingsley, follow me on LinkedIn or visit my website at coffeewithclaire.tv. And to hear more episodes of Coffee with Claire, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast and social media platforms.